I'm just really thankful. They kept continuing to show up for us, and they make a lot of noise. Like, they're into it. They're not just sitting there. Like, they're invested in this basketball. It's great for our league. It's great for every team that gets to come and play here. I think we've had a lot of great battles, and they've helped us win a lot of games on this floor.
Caitlin Clark's performance against the Dallas Wings was one of those moments that you just know will stick with you. She didn't just break the WNBA rookie scoring record, she took it, crumpled it up, and threw it out like a piece of junk mail. The crowd buzzed as she weaved through defenders, sinking shots that looked impossible. There was an unshakable energy in the air. By the time she was done, Clark had etched her name in history, doing so in a way only she could, gritty, determined, and with a kind of swagger that made you believe she'd been here for years, not months. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. The night began like any other game, both teams warming up, the usual pre-game chatter filling the stadium. But if you watched closely, there was something about Clark's presence that felt different. She wasn't just going through the motions. Each practice shot looked deliberate, each pass during warm-ups calculated. It was as though she was already in game mode, seeing the court like a chessboard before the first whistle had even blown. This wasn't about just another win. It was clear she had something to prove. When the game started, the Dallas Wings threw everything they had at her. Double teams, tight defensive pressure, none of it mattered. Clark danced around defenders like they were standing still. Her movements weren't flashy, but they were efficient, and that's what made it so satisfying to watch. There's an art to how she reads the game. While others try to outmuscle or outspeed their opponents, Clark finds the tiniest gaps in defenses and slips through like she's running a drill. As the minutes ticked by, Clark seemed to get stronger. Every time the Wings tried to slow her down, she found another gear. A three-pointer from well beyond the arc that barely touched the net. A quick drive to the basket, squeezing between two defenders who were left looking at each other like, what just happened? It was relentless. But the most impressive thing wasn't the volume of points she racked up. It was the sheer confidence she displayed. She didn't hesitate for a second when she got the ball, and each possession felt like a challenge she was fully prepared to win. By halftime, Clark had already set a pace that felt historic, but nobody knew just how far she would take it. The Wings' defense wasn't exactly a pushover, yet they struggled to keep up. It was like trying to catch a shadow. Just when you thought you had her cornered, she'd slip out and hit a jumper or find an open teammate. And when she celebrated, it was with that same casual swagger. Not cocky, but like she knew this was where she was supposed to be. And deep down, everyone else knew it too. The second half was more of the same, though by this point, it felt inevitable. The crowd was fully behind her. Each time she touched the ball, there was an expectant hush, as if everyone in the building knew something amazing was about to happen. And it usually did. When the Wings made a run to close the gap, Clark didn't panic. She slowed the game down, took control, and drilled another long three, as if to say, not tonight. Her basketball IQ is off the charts. It's one thing to score in bunches, but Clark was also orchestrating her team's offense, making the right plays at the right time. Even with all eyes on her, she knew when to pass, when to drive, and when to let it fly. It's the kind of instinct you don't teach. You either have it, or you don't. And Clark has it in spades. With each basket, the tension in the arena grew. Could she actually do this? Could she break the rookie scoring record in a single game? You could almost see the defenders' frustration mounting. They knew she was going for it, but there was no stopping her. Even the Dallas Wings bench at times looked like they were watching in awe. Clark had entered that rare zone athletes sometimes find, a place where nothing feels impossible. As the clock wound down, the record loomed closer. The anticipation was thick, and then it happened. A pull-up jumper from just inside the three-point line that felt like it took an eternity to drop. But when it did, the crowd exploded. She'd done it. She had shattered the WNBA rookie scoring record, and she did it in such a way that it felt like no one else ever really had a chance. There was no dramatic pause afterward, no long moment of reflection. Clark just jogged back down the court, a slight smile on her face, as if she'd known this was coming all along. That's part of her magic. She doesn't need to make a big deal about it, because the moment speaks for itself. She's been preparing for this stage her whole life, and it shows. But beyond the numbers, what made this performance so special was how it embodied everything fans love about Caitlin Clark. She's fierce without being unapproachable, confident but never arrogant. She plays with a chip on her shoulder, but get the sense she's doing it for more than just herself. When she pulls off a ridiculous shot, there's a sense of joy in her face, like she's sharing it with everyone watching. She doesn't hog the spotlight, She simply makes it impossible to look away. The implications of this game are massive, not just for Clark, but for the WNBA as a whole. Clark's presence in the league is already shifting perceptions about what's possible for rookies, and this performance was a statement. It said that no matter what you've accomplished before, no matter how much hype surrounds you, there's always more to achieve. She's the kind of player who changes the narrative just by stepping on the court. After this game, the rest of the league won't be able to ignore her. They'll be planning for her, game planning specifically around her. But if this night showed anything, it's that planning might not be enough. Watching her play, you get the sense that this isn't the end of anything, it's just the beginning. Clark has already proven she belongs, but nights like this suggest she's not content with just belonging. She's here to dominate. And it's not just her scoring ability that makes her so dangerous. It's the way she thinks the game, how she's always a step ahead, reading plays before they unfold, anticipating where the ball will go and what the defense will do next. Clark's play style also signals a broader shift in the WNBA as the league continues to evolve and attract more attention. There's a growing fan base that gravitates toward players like her, athletes who not only put up numbers but do it with a kind of unshakable presence. Clark, with her confident manner and unrelenting work ethic, is the perfect face for this new wave. The thing about records is that they're often viewed as the pinnacle, a high point to aim for. But Clark's performance didn't feel like an end point. It felt like a launchpad. She didn't just set the record, she smashed it, and in doing so, set a new standard. Other rookies will come into the league in the future, and they'll look at Clark's name next to that record, and they'll know what they're up against. But more than that, they'll see what's possible. They'll see that you don't have to wait your turn or take a back seat just because you're new. You can come in, take charge, and own the moment. For Clark, this game was a continuation of her story. A story that started long before she stepped onto the WNBA court, back when she was lighting it up in high school and then in college. But this performance, in many ways, felt like the culmination of everything she'd worked for up until now. And yet, knowing Clark, it's also just the latest chapter. Because if there's one thing we've learned about her, it's that she's always looking forward, always thinking about the next game, the next challenge, the next record that might need breaking. And so, as the final buzzer sounded and the crowd continued to roar, you couldn't help but think this wasn't just about one game or one record. It was about something bigger. Clark had shown that she's not just a great player, she's a game changer, someone who's capable of redefining what it means to be a rookie in the WNBA. And for everyone watching, whether in the stands or at home, it was clear that this was only the beginning of what Caitlin Clark has in store for the basketball world. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.